Hey everyone, welcome to this video. If you're new to Linux world and are looking for a channel that can help you set up a dual boot with Linux, you're in the right place. I've got a video linked in the description that will guide you through the process of installing Fedora alongside Windows 10 or 11. It's not a VM, it's an actual desktop. You can also do that for your laptop as well. So definitely check that out if you haven't already. Now that we have Fedora installed, one might wonder what to do next, especially if you're new to Linux. So in this video, I'll cover the key steps that you should take after logging into Fedora for the first time. From getting the latest system and security updates to updating repositories, we'll also be installing video and media codecs and also some essential softwares. By the end of this video, you should have your Fedora system set up and ready to be explored. I'm currently working on videos where I'll be focusing on how to use Linux as a daily driver, both for your personal and professional use. These videos are designed specially for beginners in mind. So you can expect that I'll not only show you what to do, but also explain how it is done, especially when it comes to terminal. I'll try to break down each command so you can understand exactly what's happening. And wherever it is possible, I will try to show you how we can achieve the same results using graphical user interface instead of the terminal. Now let's log in into this machine. I'll type in my password. So as soon as you log in, you will see the Fedora Welcome Center message. As you can see, this is the mascot that they have. Now the screen also talks about the KD community, and also if you want to learn more about Fedora Linux, you can click on the link. Let's click on the next button. Now the screen talks about how this is your desktop, just like you have in your Windows. It will show your files, folders, system settings. You can also place widgets here. Now this screen shows you the tools which come in this KDE environment, including overview, KDE Connect, system settings, vaults, activities. We'll talk about these in later videos. It also talks about all the softwares that you're able to receive via Discover. We'll be talking about Discover later in this video. Here it talks about if you want to share anonymous usage information with KDE so developers can use it to improve KDE software. You can select it from here if you want, and we can click on next now, and we can click on finish. Now let's get security updates from Fedora. Now the first step is to open terminal. You can right click anywhere and open terminal. I will just increase the font size so that it is visible. All right. Now the first step that we need to do is update our Fedora. We'll write this command sudo dnf update. Now sudo basically gives you the administrative right, and dnf update is the command which will help us to get the latest features and security patches. Just like in Windows, you'll go to settings and you'll update your Windows, or you'll get a pop-up, right? Here you're going to terminal and fetching it manually. It is very crucial to keep your system updated. So we'll hit enter. It is now asking me for my administrative password because we used sudo. You hit enter. It will tell you that there are a lot of packages available here. Okay. Now see how install says 5 packages. It is also telling you what all packages are available to you. Okay. It is telling you that kernel version is available, modules, extra, how much is the update size. Now, if you're not comfortable with terminal, you can also do it via graphical user interface. For that, you have to open Discover. We'll come back to this, what Discover is. Right Discover, click here, open it up, and if you see at the third number, updates and fetching. Now, right now, it's telling me that even Fedora Linux 41 is available. We're not going to do that right now. Okay, I'll just close this. I wanted to show you this through terminal. It's asking me, shall I go ahead and download the amount of file? We'll say yes. You just need to type in Y, hit enter. And now it will download everything, and you'll be able to see even the ETA on the right hand side bottom corner. If you see here, it talks about the time taken by everything. Now I'll just pause the video right now so that it gets the job done, and then I will play it again. Okay, so just to show you guys, it has basically downloaded 65 items, and here at the bottom you'll be able to see what all things are upgraded, and even the cleanup process is there. It will tell you what all things have been upgraded. Now, of course, if you have always been using Windows, that's too much information for your eyes, right? So as of now, we'll just focus on getting the job done, and we'll feel familiar with time. Now, most people feel overwhelmed with terminal and end up returning to Windows. My goal with these videos is to help you grow comfortable with Linux over time. So I would request you to stick with whatever version of Linux you're using until you reach a point where you can replace Linux entirely with Windows. Now that this is done, I will just clear everything. Clear is a command which will just clear the terminal for you. All right. Now I have done the updates part previously as well. So right now I did not reboot my machine. While you should reboot your machine, it is advisable that you reboot your machine after the updates are done, just like you have it in your Windows. If you go back to the application launcher, Fedora application launcher, or equivalent to Windows Start button, and if you go to Discover, go to the updates column. We do not have updates anymore. However, the upgrade is still available. I'm showing you this to make you understand that you have a couple of ways by which you can get updates for your Fedora KDE. My advice to you would be to use terminal to feel more comfortable with it. But let's say you are still not comfortable, or you're maybe new to Linux, you can always go to the graphical user interface and open Discover. I'll close it here. When you install Microsoft-based operating systems such as Windows 11, you can use it straight away out of the box. Now, what I mean by that is you don't have to install anything to run your MP3 files or maybe your MP4 video files, only because Windows typically would come with certain pre-installed codecs, which basically are softwares which support common day-to-day files for audio and video. For example, you can play MP3 file, WAV wave file, WMA file, MPEG files, MP4 files out of the box. You don't have to install anything. Just double click on it. You will usually, I mean, in the old days, we had Windows Media Player, and now you have different players in Windows. Now, Linux, on the other hand, they do not come with a lot of codecs pre-installed, majorly due to the licensing issue and the legal restrictions related to any proprietary formats, which means in order for you as a Linux user to play certain formats like MP3 or maybe MP4 or maybe MKV format, you will have to install additional codecs, additional piece of softwares. That's what we are going to do right now. I'm going to put in all the commands that I'm using so that you are able to use them, copy and paste them. Fedora prioritizes providing a fully open source experience out of the box. And because of this nature, you will not be able to get these codecs in its default repository. We will have to now enable another repository with the name RPM Fusion, which is not available by default only because of Fedora's commitment to strict open source principles and software freedom. RPM Fusion repositories contain software that includes proprietary drivers, multimedia codecs, and other softwares that Fedora cannot include directly due to licensing or patent restrictions. In order for us to run all the audio and video formats that Windows runs by default, and for that we will have to first enable the RPM repository via terminal. Now, you may not be familiar with RPM Fusion, or you may be familiar with RPM Fusion as well. Now, when I spoke about Discover, right? When I wrote Discover, so basically this is the default software repository for Fedora. What I mean by that is just like your mobile phone, your Android mobile phone has Google Play Store. A lot of things come by default in Play Store, right? But in case you want something open source, you will have to install a different Play Store. You can use F-Droid, you can use Neo Store in Android, which will give you much more uh, options from developers across the globe, but it does not come under Google. Similarly, Fedora has its own repository which comes by default. A lot of things you'll find here, but in order for you to install codecs, only because of the legal issues, you will have to enable the RPM repository. Okay, I'll write down the command for RPM repository. You need to run this command as it is. This will basically enable the RPM repository. Now, this repository will provide us additional packages like multimedia codecs or maybe GPU drivers, graphical drivers in case you're using NVIDIA. I am not using any graphic card on my desktop, so I'll not be able to showcase NVIDIA. Right click and paste. Just ensure there are no mistakes. All right, I will hit enter. It will ask for my password. Enter the password. Now we'll write the second command. Now this first command that we ran for RPM was only for the software packages which come under free release, and this one will enable the packages which come under non-free release. So I'll just paste it, hit enter. Okay, done. Now I'll clear this as well. Okay, now once you've updated this, I would need you to update your DNF. Just type in sudo DNF update. It will just update all the repositories that it can find. Okay, all is good. Now let's install. Now again, in a perfectly world scenario, if you want to stay secure, you don't do that. You read what you have and then you press yes. Right now, I know I've done this packaging. I've ran this command previously, so I know it is safe. So I'm just going to type in -y, hit enter. Now you see it's not asking me for yes or no anymore. It's just downloading it. It is downloading. Okay, perfect. So everything is now good in terms of video codec. Now we'll go to the next step. Now in this step, we will work on DNF. DNF is a package manager, which is pretty much similar to what Microsoft Store is for Windows or Google Play Store is for Android. But here's the catch. Both Android Play Store and Microsoft Store, they are graphical interfaces. You can basically look at something, click on it, and it will install for you. But DNF is a command line utility. It will help you to install anything, update anything, remove anything, and manage the software packages that are already installed on your system. Just now, we updated our system using DNF, right? Now, to begin, DNF also has a version, right? Just like Play Store has a version. So we will just try and see what current version are we using. We're using 4.21.1. Now, as you can see, currently we have two repositories, DNF and RPM, that we just enabled. Now, the first step that we'll do right now is make changes to DNF. These changes will help the downloading speed of DNF a bit faster. Now, if you're familiar with the concept where in Windows, you are able to find a mirror location for any software that you're trying to download. For example, if you're in Asia and that mirror is closer to you, it will fetch you the software from that location. Okay, so now we're going to make changes to the DNF. Now, in order for us to do that, we'll have to look at the configuration file of DNF. This configuration file is located in a folder. If I had to go here, I would go to my actual machine, go to my etc folder, go to my DNF folder, and from here I will select the DNF config file. We're looking at this file. Okay, you can always open this with kwrite and make the changes. I've made two changes here: max parallel downloads and fastest mirror equals to 1. What I'm trying to say here is that I need DNF to only download 10 things parallelly. Let's say five of these parallelly. We'll click on, I've selected 5 here. Now, if I give you a reference, when you download something in your browser nowadays, be it Chrome, it will tell you, or maybe even Edge, that do you want to download multiple files. Now, what will happen is if you download multiple files, it will hit your internet speed. Now, what I mean by that is, let's say if you're downloading one file of maybe 100 meg and you download 10 files of 100 meg, basically you're downloading 1 gigabyte now, right? So definitely your internet speed will be affected for other things that you're doing, right? So depending on where you are, you can set this up to maybe 5 or maybe 10. I'm going to save this document, save this file. It's asking for my password. I will put in my password. That's it. I'll close it. Now this is the way you can do it, the graphical way, right? Lot of people on their tutorials would show you that through the terminal. Now for that, all you need to do is run this command. Basically, this command is, it will let you enter this folder path and open the file using nano. And I will, if you see, it's giving you the same thing but inside the terminal. We made changes here, changes to in this config file. There are others as well, right? But these two I felt were really relevant. Just to showcase that that was the actual file, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my cursor here and make it 10 again. Now you can't just control S here, or there's no file to save, right? Now, first of all, you need to do control X, just like you cut in Windows, control X. Now at the bottom, if you see, it is asking you, do you want to save the modified buffer? You need to write Y for yes. It will then tell you the file name to write would be this. Just hit enter. Done. It closes. Go back to the same file, right click on it, open, it's 10 again. I'm doing this just to ensure that you feel more comfortable with Linux. That's the whole idea. And it's probably going to be a reason why these videos would be much more lengthy. Now, in case you guys want me to create a video which is just precise, you can put that in the comment section below and I'll try to do something about it. I'm going to talk about customization. There's a lot of customization which is available in Fedora, especially the KDE version, KDE Plasma. You know, you can click here, you can go to settings, go to system settings. You can do a lot of things here. You can select between the dark and light themes. Um, you can also change the mouse, keyboard, touch screen in case using a laptop, multimedia. You can select all the things which are there. Again, if you're a new person, all this is too much of information, so you can just leave it as such right now. For most people, what you want to do is change the the display in case your computer can do that, right? So you can do this, change the resolution per your need. You can also scale up and down, right? Orientation in case you want. Now, one of the reasons why I wanted to show you this is something that I do a lot. If you want to change the wallpaper, if you want to change the color, themes, right? When you log in, you get a splash screen. You can have more. You can change the text, the font size. Um, it also has default applications. What all applications are default? Uh, we've not really installed anything right now. These are all the default ones that come along with Fedora. Let's say you have a couple of browsers, for example, maybe you have Firefox, which comes by default in Fedora. Let's say you install Chrome or maybe Brave. You can definitely select the default browser from here. You can select the notifications. Now, apart from that, there's a screen locking, there's KDE Wallet. You can change your date and time by coming here, and you can change the time zone from here. And in case you want to create a user for somebody at home, you can create a add new user. You can probably say this is my user. You can give it a username, and you can select if that person can be administrator. You can give it a password, and yeah, that's it. Somebody else can also now log in. Just click on create. It's now asking you for the password for your account because you're an administrator and you are creating a user. It is there, it is created. We should be able to log in with this user as well. Now you can also add any application or any script to just start as soon as you open the computer. These things are available for you, and yeah, just other session wise instructions that you can follow along. So you can do a lot of things here. Feel free to go through this and find anything that you feel is relevant for your liking. Now comes the most important part. You have what you have in Fedora, but what if you want more? What if you want your applications? What if you want VLC player, right? Default VLC would not show up for you. So what we'll do is I'll give you both the ways, right? Terminal and through the repository GUI. Now I should mention that there was one more codec that we should have installed previously during the codec installation section. So we'll do it right now before installing the VLC player. Now you can run this command for multimedia codecs. Okay, this will install the codecs which are necessary for multimedia on your machine. It's asking for my password. I'll enter that. It's telling me that it requires at least 1 gig of multimedia. So we'll let it do its thing. It's good to get all these codecs available. And yeah, I'll hit yes. Now while it does its own thing, I will, let it do its thing, but I'll also, explain other things. We'll open a new fresh console or terminal. Here's my new terminal. Now that we have codecs, right, we need to install VLC. For example, I use VLC on my Android phone, on my Windows player. It's open source. It's been free from forever. Now in Discover, you can just search for any software. I can type in VLC, hit enter. You'll see the list of softwares which come along with VLC, right? I've already installed VLC. That's why you see uninstall icon here, remove icon here. Now, what if we had to install it via terminal? We'll come back to Discover because that is really important. I'll minimize this. Now, in order for me to install VLC, I don't know what command should I use, right? I can type in VLC on Linux, right? Or be more specific, VLC on Fedora. Now, always use the actual website. Never go just on anyone's website because please understand when you're using terminal, you're basically, if you're a new user, you're just blind. You don't know what you're installing, right? What if this VLC was VLC 1.0 and maybe that's something else entirely? So it is very important that the source that you're using is the correct one. Okay. So now it tells me install DNF install VLC, right? Now what I will do is I will type in sudo is would be required for any administrative changes. Sudo DNF install. I'll just type VL and hit tab twice on my machine. It will tell you what all is available for you when it comes to VLC just by doing that. Now this is confusing, right? You don't know what you need right now. My bad. You have to just click once. Yeah. So what you need to do is type in sudo install VLC. Hit enter. It will ask for your password. Enter the password. Now it does not know what it needs to do. You may be thinking, what happened? We are installing. So remember, we were using repository DNF, right? I never wrote that. So this is where you understand that okay, I need to do this. So I need to install VLC from my Fedora repository. I mean, it may be a different. If you've seen Ubuntu videos, you will see apt apt, right? I'll do this. I will hit enter. It says you already have it installed because I had it already installed. Nothing to do. Similarly, if you want to install maybe you want to install Spotify. I use Spotify a lot. What we'll do is we'll go type in here Spotify, hit enter. There you go. It is there for you to install. You can do that. Now, if you pay attention on the right hand side top corner, it says Flatpak. Now, we've been only talking about DNF and we've talked about RPM, but you also have more repositories. Flatpak is one of them. Now, Flatpak is again an open community. Now, the good part about Flatpak is it gives you access to softwares across Linux distros. Now, what I mean by that is Uh, it will first ask you for what distro, what version of Linux are you using. I select I'm using Fedora. Hit here. It will tell you that Flatpak is installed by default on Fedora Workstation, Silver Blue, and others. Now I'm not using either of them. I'm using KDE. So now what I need to do is copy the command here, open my terminal, right click, paste it. No, I did not copy. Right click, copy, right click, paste. You do this, it's taking its time. While on the other window, I see that it's still installing. It's only 21%, so you're gonna have to wait for that. Okay, no errors means it did its job. Now, basically what it's telling is Flatpak has to be added if it does not exist. Okay, now you can click on install some apps. Now, for example, I wanted Spotify to download, right? You can just search for Spotify. Now, just to give you an understanding, now that we have Flatpak available, right? If you go to settings in Discover, you'll be able to see Flatpak here. You can make it default. Your default is again Fedora Linux, right? You can be part of different ones that you want. We enabled all these for ourselves, right? Now, searching for Spotify, you see it is there available. It is not verified, okay? It says that you need to pay attention to what things are verified and what are not. It's a proprietary app. Basically, the code is not available for all to see. So I click on install. Now it has downloaded a small file for me. Now what this file would do is guide me to get the files necessary to install. All you have to do is go to downloads, click on this file and open it with Discover. You do that at the bottom, it brought you to the same page nevertheless, right? Now you can select, it already says at the top right, install from Flathub. You click on this. This task basically shows you that it's doing the installation job or downloading it, right? You can see here at the bottom. So anything that you install, either from Discover, from going to the website, um, FlatHub, and don't be confused with FlatHub and Flatpak. FlatHub is the place from where you can get the Flatpak files. So you don't need to get confused between those two names. Now we'll let it download. Now if you go back and look at where our previous download is, it seems like it has done a lot of stuff. Let's scroll down at the bottom. Okay, some of the errors are there uh, because it was not able to download them all, possibly because of my bad internet connection, maybe. Um, it's asking for my password again, so I will just enter that again. All right, it has done whatever it had to do, so we'll just let it be. And now that this is done, now you should ideally do this and then install VLC, just a sequence, not that it's absolutely necessary, but in case you install VLC and you're not able to run a video file, you might feel there's something wrong with VLC. But essentially, the codec was missing, right? So it's advisable to first install these and then install VLC. Now that we have this done, I'll close this additional window. We'll go back to here. Now we also had Spotify, which was available for us. So now, as you can see, we have initiated the Spotify. Let's just cancel it out. Now just install Spotify. Click here, install from Flathub. Now, you may come across such issues in Linux, and the first thing that you do is, the first thing that you think is you don't know what's happening, right? Now, we have installed a lot of updates and I have not rebooted my machine. So I would probably just, I would like to cancel this, close this. I would like to reboot my machine. Let me reboot the machine and then come back again. I'll pause the video. Okay, we're back, and surprisingly, we have another user that we can log in with. I almost forgot that we created one, so I will just log in with my own account right now. We'll also test the test account as well. Okay, now we're back, log in. Now let's go back to just like we call File Manager, right? In Windows, File Explorer. We have Dolphin here. So that's the name of the File Explorer here. You open this Spotify with Discover. It will say install from Flathub. I click on this. Okay, now it has. All right, suddenly. I mean, it is only 13 meg to be honest. So now you see the task is 83%, right? 85. Even at the bottom, if you see the Discover has the window which shows you that it's installing or downloading something, right? Okay, so we finally have it installed. You can click on launch. It will ask you to log in. Once you click on login, it will take you to the browser, ask you for your credentials. I'm gonna just leave it as it is. Hopefully you have this set up. I will close this. Now, you can also install a lot of things. It's showing you all the popular ones. Maybe you need a Brave browser. Hit this. You have it here. You can install it here. It's a very simple process. Just click on it and you're done. Now again, I'm trying to tell you to use things which are there to make you feel comfortable using Fedora. I don't want to do everything with terminal right now because you may feel overwhelmed. It should be fun. It should not be a test, right? Now, one of the most important things for people to move from Windows to Linux, rather, one of the most important things which stop people from moving from Linux, from Windows to Linux, is the lack of Microsoft Suite products. Now, there's a software known as LibreOffice. This basically is already installed. This is a suite of products which contains everything that will help your needs for Excel sheet, Word documents, and all that. Now, there are a lot of open source options available. It's not necessary that you go with LibreOffice. You can also go with other available alternatives. One that I know of is OnlyOffice. You can use only Office. And yeah, I mean, you can see what all things it gives you access to. This would be one of the important ones that you need. So you can go ahead and install this as well. I think this is all that I can think of right now in the initial video. Now, one thing which maybe a couple of ones that I would also like to talk about is, system management. When you're using Windows, you can always open Task Manager and know what thing is really taking away all the memory and all that, right? The CPU utilization and a lot of other stuff. How do you do that in Linux, right? Now, you can install an application known as Htop. Okay, you can even either go here. This is not the one, since now you can see it's not giving me something that I need, right? I'll come here, open this, go to Flatpak. You should probably just save it as a bookmark. You could probably just save it. Now let's just type in, no, just type in Htop. So now see, it does not even have it, so that's okay. So we'll open terminal. So again, it is absolutely necessary that you know where your softwares are coming from, right? This one is only available in apt library. I will type this sudo dnf install htop. I will type in my password. It's telling me it is of 3 MB. I'll do yes. Preparing, installing, it's all done. Let's now type in htop. Here's the process viewer. Okay. It's it's not the most pretty when you compare it to Task Manager, right? But it tells you everything that you need. CPU percentage is here, memory utilization is there, commands are there, locations are there. I'll create a separate session for Htop so that you're able to understand this. Now I will close this. Now the last thing that I need to do is to install a software which gives you the functionality of restoring your machine. Now, when you're using Windows, if you're using Windows, you are probably familiar with the term system restore, right? Anything you installed and it screws up your machine, you can restore it back, right? Not everyone does it, but a lot of people use it. Now, in Linux, if you are new, there may be a possibility that you install something from somewhere and it screws up, or maybe you made changes to the configuration file like we did for DNF in the video earlier and it screws up. It is very important that you are able to recover from that. For that, we'll use a software which is known as Timeshift. This software will give you the ability to back up your Linux. Okay, so it is not available by default here. No worries. Oh, okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to install Timeshift. Does not look like it's available by default. Not a problem. Go ahead and search it in here. Do we have Timeshift? No, not a problem. When you're not able to find the software that you need, right? Uh, well, terminal is your friend, right? Sudo DNF is from where we get our packages. Install time shift. Hit enter. It's asking for my password. I'll give my password. It says it's already installed. I actually did that earlier, so you know, here it is. It's asking for my password. Now you can create a snapshot of your current system. Now, what does that mean? This basically means that you would be able to create a snapshot and you can restore that snapshot. It allows you to back up the entire system state and restore it later in case, maybe you upgraded something or maybe you made changes to configuration file. So it is good for your own safety. I will not explain everything in this video because this video is already very lengthy. So you need to install this, and now that we have done this, a short recap to what we have done. So in the beginning, we did the walkthrough of Welcome Center, and after that, we installed the latest Fedora updates. We then enabled the RPM repository, and we also enabled Flatpak repository as well. We made changes to the DNF configuration file via terminal and graphical user interface, and we installed video and audio codecs. After that, we installed VLC player and Spotify. We've also installed Htop for monitoring CPU utilization via the terminal. And in the last part, we installed Timeshift for backing up our Linux machine. That will be all for today's current video. In case you found this video useful, please like the video, and if you're comfortable, subscribe to my channel. I would also request you to share your thoughts in the comment section. I will be releasing more videos in the upcoming weeks, which includes updating this current Fedora 40 version to version 41. And I will also be installing VMware Workstation on Fedora Linux so that we can get Windows 10 virtual machine inside our Linux machine. This ensures that you stay in the Linux machine, and in case of any requirement of logging into Windows, you can start that virtual machine of Windows 10. Thank you so much for watching the video.